Nissan Micra has become a familiar nameplate since launching in Europe in 1983, marking out the Japanese company's small supermini hatchback for 5 generations. It's an established rival to the Ford Fiesta, Renault Clio, Vauxhall Corsa and VW Polo. Latterly, it's lived in their shadow, and the latest version, launched in March 2017, aims to close the gap for driving quality, style and interior comfort. Those sharp looks now give cars such as the Seat Ibiza something to think about. The good news is that Nissan's largely succeeded. The newcomer is light years ahead of its predecessor in every department. A very modern supermini on first inspection, the Micra is a rakish-looking supermini with compact dimensions. However, it's worth noting that it has replaced the Note Mini MPV2. Line it up against the old Micra and you realize how significantly larger it is than its predecessor. It needs to appeal to Honda Jazz buyers as well as more youthful buyers of superminis, which goes some way to explaining why it's only available in practical 5-door form. This means that room in the front is plentiful and 2 tall adults will be very comfortable in the first row seats. However, that sloping roofline cramps rear headroom somewhat. It's fine for children, but grown-ups might struggle to be comfortable on longer journeys. Driving impressions as well as a modern, on-trend wardrobe. The latest Nissan Micra has made giant strides in the driving department. Where its Indian-built predecessor was designed as a cheap and cheerful global car, this one's been engineered for European tastes. Although a development of the previous 4th-generation models, the oily bits underneath now deliver. It's an accomplished small car to drive, with high comfort levels, especially on the smaller wheels, decent performance and a fun joie de vivre that means you'll enjoy driving the Micra around town or on longer journeys. Choose from a pair of 3-cylinder petrol engines, a 0.9 turbo or 1.0 litre, and a 1.5 litre diesel 4-cylinder. The latter is unlikely to be a big seller in the UK, since diesel engines carry an inevitable cost premium that's hard to stomach at this low supermini price point. The verdict: the Nissan Micra has come of age. It's a small car we'd heartily recommend and should provide stylish, no-nonsense fun for those wanting a city runabout or versatile small car. Read the full Nissan Micra review to find out more. A choice of petrol and diesel engines or models offer adequate performance. Our pick is the 0.9 turbo. The Nissan Micra comes with a choice of engines at launch, 2 petrol and 1 diesel. In time, we expect a hybrid petrol engine to be added as additional options are introduced. Petrol engines you can choose from a 0.9 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine or 1.0 litre naturally aspirated unit. The form is 90 horsepower, makes light work of most acceleration with 0 to 62 miles per hour taking 12.1 seconds. Only if you encounter steep hills or regularly carry 4 passengers and luggage will you wish for extra thrust. It's impressively refined, lacking the loud, characterful triple-cylinder thrum you'll find in a Peugeot or Citroën equivalent. The other petrol engine is the non-turbocharged 1.0 litre developing 71 horsepower and 95 Nm, which is more suited to driving in town than it is tackling faster roads and motorways. A 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 16.4 seconds and top speed of 98 miles per hour means, on paper at least, this version sounds quite dreary, but it's actually quite a characterful little unit. If all you do is short urban journeys, its £1,000 saving over the turbo engine is an intriguing offer. On more open highways and motorway slip roads you will notice this slower acceleration. Diesel engines: there is an admirably refined 90 horsepower 1.5 litre DC diesel as well, but this is a niche player in the UK, where a higher price hampers its attractiveness, even if its 85 grams/km CO2 rating and 80 miles per gallon plus economy appeals. On paper, its 11.9 seconds 0 to 62 miles per hour time makes it the fastest model of the range, assisted by fulsome pulling power, 220 Nm of it. That means you change gear less often. It's certainly the more relaxed offering if you regularly venture out on the motorway. A sweet shifting, unobtrusive 5-speed manual transmission is the only gearbox offered for now, but Nissan is developing a CVT automatic for those who prefer to have cog swapping done for them. A comfortable ride, decent steering feel, good in corners. Stick with 15 inches or 16 inches wheels for best comfort. The Nissan Micra is based on the heavily updated engineering platform of its predecessor, beefed up to improve ride and handling. It's worked. This is a small hatchback that you'll take pleasure driving, whether around town, where it's nippy and easy to thread through gaps in traffic, or on the open road. This is more than can be said of its predecessor, which emphasized cost-cutting over corner carving. Show the new Micra a series of bends and it's actually remarkably enjoyable to punt along, with an agile feel and tidy body control. The steering helps here, it's responsive and quick to react to inputs, without being class leader. We'd still put the evergreen Ford Fiesta and Seat Ibiza above the Micra for outright dynamic prowess, but the Japanese car no longer falls apart at the first corner. Bright, light cabin has cool ambience. Tailor the dashboard trim to your taste. Immersive Bose stereo option has stunning sound. This is one of the Micra's ace cards. The interior is fizzing with fabulous touches for a cheap, small car. There's a gently backlit tray pulsing with a disco mirror ball effect to hold your smartphone, for instance, and even more functional features such as the round air vents are more interesting than most. It's a welcoming cabin, with bright, light colors, and Nissan's personalization program lets you choose 3 different decorative packs to tailor the color of the dashboard and door cards. Choose from blue, orange and red appliques. The view out is good, although you're always aware of the monobox shape, which pushes the windscreen pillars a long way forward and makes it feel like a baby MPV at times. Despite this, front visibility is excellent. All the minor controls work well and are logically laid out. The 7.0-inch touchscreen infotainment system on high-spec models works effectively and responds quickly and easily to prods and swipes. Syncing with modern smartphones is a cinch, and higher grades add Apple CarPlay. Android Auto is under development, Nissan promises, although it was not available at launch in spring 2017. Great for front seat passengers, less so in the back. With poor headroom, ride quality decent. The front seats are of good quality for a competitively priced supermini. With steady support for your back and plenty of adjustment, the driver's seat on every model moves up and down, and the wheel adjusts every way. It's likely you'll easily find a comfy driving position before you set off. Just watch out for a huge blind spot over your shoulder, where that swooping roof line, kinked back windows and craftily hidden rear door handle conspire to rob you of visibility. Opt for a higher spec model with tinted rear glass and the issue only gets worse. Once on the move, the Nissan Micra produces a surprisingly smooth ride, soaking up the worst road bumps and lumps to protect you from Britain's less well-surfaced roads. It is an inherently comfortable small car. Choose from 5 trim levels. Vizier is starter grade, rising to top tech to Hill Start Assist, trip computer. Standard entry-level Nissan Micras will be relatively stripped out. The Vizier grade comes with humble 15-inch steel wheels, a basic 2-speaker stereo, Bluetooth phone connectivity, lane departure warning, automatic emergency braking, and not a lot else. Step up to Vizier Plus to add air conditioning and stop-start to save you fuel in traffic jams. If that seems a little stingy, ascend to add 16-inch alloy wheels, body-colored mirrors and handles, cruise control, Apple CarPlay, and the excellent 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. At the top of the Nissan Micra spec tree lie the end connector, adding front fog lamps, electro-folding door mirrors, privacy glass, automatic aircon and a leather steering wheel, and the ultimate Techno trim level. The top dog grade expands the alloy wheels to 17 inches in diameter, adds keyless entry, a rear-view parking camera and the ear-popping Bose surround sound stereo. It feels like a surprisingly premium small car with that lot bundled in. Perhaps the hardest part of spec'ing your Micra is choosing the color, with 10 exterior paint choices, 3 interior color packs and 4 exterior styling kits. Nissan claims there are 125 different color combinations to select. 5-star Euro NCAP crash test result. Raft of electronic systems to keep you safe. 6 airbags standard across the range. The Nissan Micra hatchback scored an excellent 5 stars in the Euro NCAP crash test when sampled in 2017. Every model has 6 airbags, ISOFIX attachments front and rear, electronic stability control, tire pressure monitoring system and automatic headlamps. Nissan really has thrown the kitchen sink at its small car in safety equipment. It packs many features not normally seen in this class. Automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection is standard, so the car will apply the anchors autonomously if it detects an impending impact. It was the first supermini in Europe to offer this life-saving feature. And all UK Micras also include lane keeping functionality, traffic sign recognition and the ability to flip your main beam headlamps up and down automatically, to avoid dazzling oncoming traffic. Clever stuff. Front seats are very roomy, rear bench is cramped, especially headroom. 300-litre boot, a decent size. The latest Nissan Micra enjoyed a significant growth spurt over its predecessor and reaps the benefits. The cabin is now jolly roomy, in the front at least, and there is an abundance of large cubbies and storage areas to house all the paraphernalia of life on the road. You do pay the penalty for that swooping roof line, however, it grabs rear headroom significantly. Children will be fine in the back seats, but adults are not as well accommodated as in many rivals, such as the roomy Skoda Fabia. This cramped feel in the back is compounded by the small rear windows, an outcome of having rakish looks that favor a sharply rising window line and low roof. The Micra's boot is a convenient 300 liters and will easily swallow the family shop or luggage for a weekend away. There's a large well underneath the luggage compartment which is big enough to take a full-size or emergency spare wheel, although these are cost options. A can of spray gunk is standard. The Micra has had something of a growth spurt compared with the old curvy car, but it doesn't look it on first inspection. Those sharp looks disguise it well. Compared with some of its closest rivals, though, the Micra is quite compact. The Fiesta, Corsa and Ibiza are all longer than the Micra. That's great news for buyers looking for something easy to nip about town in and squeeze into small parking spaces in. Where you might struggle is with visibility. The Micra may well be a small supermini, but the penalty for striking exterior styling is restricted visibility, especially when you want to look out of the back. Still, the ability to add parking sensors and 360-degree cameras helps, although the lens quality of the cameras isn't particularly good. We'd save some money, stick with the sensors, and perhaps practice your parallel parking if you're worried about dings. At 300 liters, the Micra's boot is about par for the course for a supermini, with a square space offered that's practical and useful enough for the weekly shop or a weekend away. There's nothing overly clever about the setup though, and some may find the loading lip quite high, especially if you're lifting heavier items up and over it regularly. Folding the rear seats down is easy, opening up a 1,004-litre total load area, which is much more impressive than that of the seat Ibiza at 823 litres, while the Fiesta manages to trump the Micra with 1,093 litres of space. Extra storage around the interior isn't particularly remarkable, though. There are useful door bins and a couple of extra cubbies dotted about, but that's about it when it comes to practicality.